Welcome to the Power of Love show sponsored by the Dede Foundation, where we shine a light on loss and grief and how it impacts our lives. We are here to provide hope, resources, and a community so no one feels alone in their grief. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Power of Love show sponsored by the Dede Foundation, where we shine a light on loss and grief and how it impacts our lives. I am TJ Jackson, and with me is my eldest brother, Taj Jackson. What's going on, Taj? We are live, of course, on the Power of Love show on Facebook and YouTube currently, but you may also be listening to us on a podcast platform. If you are listening on a podcast or even Facebook or YouTube, make sure you are following us, make sure you have subscribed, and go ahead and like the video or like the podcast. It helps others who may be looking for this content find us. With that said, we should be giving our disclaimer. So my brother's not going to do it, so I will do it. We are not licensed therapists. We are just ordinary people who've experienced loss in our lives. We've been impacted by it, and we've learned from it. And here at DDJF, we like to share our opinions in an attempt to help you overcome whatever it is you are going through. Saying that if you need professional help, we urge you to seek it, and to find it, do not just rely on us. Today's date is March 31st, 2021, and tomorrow is April 1st. Yes, many in the world know it as April Fool's Day, but for us, at least my brother and I, but really the DDJF 3T community, we know it as 3T Day because our mother, it was her birthday. Yes. And that is the day we celebrate my mother's life. Saying that, this show, we wanted to make sure it was just us two, so there's no guests on this show. We wanted to do a special show about empathy, as that was something our mother was big on. But the reason why I'm saying it this way and talking about this right now is because, yes, we are going to encourage you guys to use the stream chat to donate to DDJF. It helps us continue these kind of programs and helps us do what we really want to do and what our whole foundation was built on, and that is music therapy classes for kids in need. Taj, did I miss? Okay, so yes. So YouTubers, if you're watching this, you can use the stream chat. We've done it the last couple of weeks. We've had some amazing donations, and we want to thank those people. But if you've never used it or feel like donating today, you could do it through YouTube by stream chatting. It's very simple. Or on Facebook, there should be a post. On this post, there should be a button below that says to donate, or something like that. I'm not completely caught up on my Facebook game, but yes, it's made the Facebook and YouTube have made it very easy. So yes, that is one way to really, really help our foundation continue to do what the whole purpose is, and that's to help people in need.
I would like to say one other thing. If you do donate as well, leave us a quick message just in terms of like either how DDJF helped you or if you knew our mom or anything like that, just in general too, because we love reading those as well. In that way.
Yes. Another thing, since we're talking about it, we should be mentioning the Dede Jackson Foundation merch. If you go to ddjf.org, you can find more information about us. But yes, you can get shirts and some merch that can also support us, our foundation. We also should be mentioning the Dede Jackson Foundation official Facebook group. We launched it, Taj, maybe 6 months ago, but it continues to grow every day with more members who are either needing help or needing a community, or those who feel like they're in a good place in life and have experienced a lot of things in life and can help others. So if you are in one of those two groups, I really suggest you to request entry into the group, to join the group. That's the proper phrase. To join the group and become part of our official Facebook group. Taj, anything else I should be saying in the intro before we get into our 7 habits of highly empathetic people?
No, not at all. Just, I've always said I was internally grateful for the community and what they've done in terms of being this whole unit, in terms of helping support each other. it's something that we've always wanted, and I love that it's my mom's name, spearheading it.
Yeah,
Or
and
what's her name, I should say.
no, you're exactly right, Taj. Your mom, my mom, and Terrell's mom, of course. But
Yeah.
I just think I'm gonna piggyback off what you just said.
Oh, someone said the anything video. I'm just reading the comments because I'm actually doing my job.
Oh, the premiere of the anything video.
Yes,
Okay.
we're supposed to mention.
Okay, so I'll mention that as well. But I just want to say this: my mother was a beautiful, amazing, heartfelt person who loved to help the community. She loved to give back, and to be able to build DDJF to what it is now with our amazing board members who are not Jacksons, that are doing this in the name of our mother and for what she stood for and her values to help people. I couldn't be any more proud and pleased of what this has become. We see so many familiar names and faces in these live chats, and you guys have been such a beautiful community, not only for each other, but also for us. And it's a beautiful, like Tosh said, it's a beautiful thing for us three kids of my mother who lost our mother at a young age to know that she's still impacting the way she was when she was here on Earth. Now, I will say one more thing since Taj hinted to it. Tomorrow, yes, my mother's birthday, 3T Day. We are encouraging donations today. But Taj said 3T, the 3T anything video. So Taj, do you want to talk about what that means and what's going on?
We will be premiering the anything video in a higher format. Obviously, it's
yes. Is that the right way to say it, Taj? Higher format, higher definition.
Higher definition. You can say higher format.
Okay.
Yeah. In 4K for the right. Is it 4K?
That's right.
Yeah. Because it was only shot. I mean, it was shot on film, but it was edited in SD and all that stuff, and so the resolution has been back in the day. Yeah. So. Yeah. It's excited to see this. If you want to see us in better resolution, it's our first video.
Much like the Stuck on You video, we heard a lot of people talk about how it's really impacted and, or I guess really elevated the video, because when we shot those videos, it was either the mid to late 90s or the early 2000s. And of course, technology has gotten a lot better. So yes, we are premiering that on our 3T channel. But really, Taj, that is now officially off topic because this is about DDJF. And I want to say again, we are going to be talking about 7 habits of highly empathetic people. But before we do, I want to give complete props to Lena, who says she finally figured it out. And where's her comment that I could share? Where is it?
Come on, man.
There it is. Lena says she finally figured out and donated 10 euros. Thank you, Lena, for making a difference and contributing to DDJF. You are a wonderful supporter, and it means the world to us. So thank you so much. And then we also have Miss Patty, who has also been an amazing supporter with a $100 donation to DDJF. I promise you guys, this goes directly to our kids that need help. We don't take a thing. We don't, not my brother or I,
no one
or
from the foundation.
It's 100% volunteer, and it goes directly to helping kids in need. So I want to thank you both for your contributions. Amazing, really amazing. So thank you both. All right, Taj, I think we should start it, and we're going to highlight anyone who donates during this hour, or during this, I should say, 30 more minutes. We're going to highlight anyone who is making a donation. But first, we're going to get into a couple of our first steps. Is that the way you would say it? First, a couple of your first tips to become a highly empathetic person. Habit number one. They are fully present with others. Empathetic people have a way of making you feel like you're the only one in the room. When they interact with someone, they give that person the gift of their full intention and respect, which is rare in today's hyper-distracted world. So if you are wanting to be a more empathetic person, really try to be in the present for that person. If someone's telling you a story or telling you how they feel, you have to be there. You can't be You really have to lock in and be as present as possible. Put away your phone, concentrate on what they're saying. Don't worry about what that cologne or perfume is they're wearing or what their shoes are. Be present for them. Taj, is there anything you want to add to this?
I 100% agree with this. I mean, I think like if I was spilling out my guts to someone and they were checking their phone, like that would, for me, feel like, are they even caring? Like, so you could do some damage even if you think I'm present at least, but fully present is fully present. It is, being there, like your issue is important to me. Let me hear it. Or what can I do to help? Like really, what can I do to help? So yeah, I agree with that one.
And you could be a great multitasker and look at your phone and still be in tune with what's being said and still have the same love and care for the person that is telling you. However, the way it's perceived by that person who's being very vulnerable at that moment can be quite negative. It could be dismissive, and it could be received the wrong way. So please be present. For anyone who ever is in need, you have to be completely present. Put away the phone, put away any distractions, and be present. Number 2. You have something to say, Taj? No. I guess that means no. Number 2, highly empathetic people have mastered the art of active listening. To truly support someone, you must first understand that person. Empathetic people take the time to understand their counterparts' priorities, preferences, and motivations. This requires listening non-judgmentally and leaving your assumptions at the door. Empathetic people use active listening skills to gain insight. Taj, what you got?
I'm not active listening. I mean, I guess I understand it, but how is that a little different than number 1 in that way?
Taj,
being present.
That is a great question.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that active listening is perhaps asking questions, following up, really relating to what's being said and not just being dismissive about it. So I think there's times where people can just be there, listen, but not really have any follow up. So that's what I would say active listening is. Cool. Okay, it's time to highlight a couple of donations. Yes, we have 2. Yes. This is a cool one too. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is from Mr. Paul Dwyer. I hope I am saying your name, Paul, correctly.
Well, it's Dwyer.
How do you know?
Because I know
Paul. All right, that's the answer I wanted to hear because you said it was
Australia. So yeah,
you said it was cool, Paul. Thank you, my friend. I love it. Happy birthday, Dede. Simple as that. And yes, your donation helps others, but your sweet message helps me. So it's beautiful to see my mother's name and someone like you donate in her honor. So thank you. We have another donation from Jasmine, who said, I didn't know your mom, but I remember. Janine. Goodness gracious. I'm sorry, Janine. Yes.
Janine Jones.
Saved the day. Janine says, I didn't know your mom, but I remember when she and your dad were together. I remember all the beautiful magazine stories. It's funny because I was younger and Todd, you were in a lot of those magazine stories because you were soon after our parents got married. So you have some even like Jet magazine cover issues.
Me and Carol made Jet magazine. I
didn't make Jet magazine cover, but what I love, Tosh, do you remember? Obviously, you don't remember. You were a baby, but do you have any cool stories regarding those times or anything?
TJ, I was so young. I don't remember. I've looked at certain things and I'm amazed at the people I've met that I didn't even know I met. Like if you would have said you met so and so, I would have been like, no, I didn't. And then I look at pictures and I'm like, I guess I did meet that person.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Janine, very much for the donation. We are going to continue moving on our 7 habits of highly empathetic people. And number 3, they tune into nonverbal communication. Again, very similar to number 1 and 2. Communication runs deeper than words alone. If you notice someone tensing up, pulling away, or suddenly dodging eye contact, those are important clues that you can use empathy to reach out. Rather than ignoring the emotional the emotion gently and with kindness. Ask them to describe what's happening for them. This gives people the freedom to share their feelings openly, knowing they won't be judged or criticized. Letting emotions flow freely can be a gateway to productive problem solving. Any response, Mr. Jackson?
Yes, I think body language is super important. I think body language is one of those things that if you're really attuned to it, they can speak things without even saying it. And sometimes it's hard to say it, but you can see it in their face or in their how they're presenting themselves. So 100%, I think sometimes you get the truth more from the body language than you do from what they're actually saying. Like if they're saying I'm fine, but in their face they're not fine, or their whole posture is not fine. That's time to say, well, I want to help anyway. What can I do?
Well said, Taj. I completely agree. I think when we need to become empathetic, we are often reaching people at very difficult times where there's a lot going on within. And usually it's the nonverbal communication that does not lie. So if you can read, what's going on and the vibe, it can tell you a lot. I think what you said is exactly dead on. So we have to be
I got
conscious.
a lot of it from the comments. The comment people were saying.
Oh, so you're just hijacking.
I'm adding my little flavor to it, but we have such a good comment section. Why do the work?
Okay, but yes, we have to watch out for body language because again, someone could say I'm great, I'm feeling wonderful, but their body or their vibe is telling you something different. And highly empathetic people are in tune with that. They know how to read that. So again, no one's perfect. So you may be wrong in what you're reading, but the trick isn't to force anything. It's simply just to be there and to open up and be present for that person.
I think highly empathetic people also speak more with a body language than they do talking in general anyway. So they're more in tune to it anyway, and they can see it because they're like that.
Nice. Number 4, they pause. In an effort to be helpful, we often jump in to finish people's sentences, offer advice, or interrupt. Empathetic people know how powerful silence can be. They don't interrupt or talk over other people. They think before they speak. And what I love about this is oftentimes when we are talking with someone, and it's what's the word I want to say? It's a different type of conversation. Silence becomes all of a sudden a little uncomfortable for many of us, and we feel like we have to fill in that gap. But empathetic people welcome that silence. They welcome the pause. They let things just happen. They don't move. They're always there, but they welcome silence and pauses. And I think that's a brilliant advice because you can learn a lot with pause and silence. Anything you want to add, Mr. Taj Jackson? Come on, there's got to be something. Nothing?
No, I'm pausing.
All right. I will take that. What we will do is, since we have done another 2, we're going to highlight 2 other people. Janice with the $24.99 donation. Thank you so much, Janice. Happy birthday, Dede. Today is my grandmother's 88th birthday, and I want to wish her a very happy birthday too, and donate in honor of all the amazing, inspiring women in our lives. I love that, Janice. Happy birthday to Grandma. 88th birthday is beautiful. And yes, I love how, it's funny because I've always respected women. I've always loved women, but I am 100% convinced now women, and I'm not going to say women rule the world because that seems kind of cliche but women are everything. They are very powerful. They are very, very in tune with life and the proper way to live life. So for any of my males out there that are listening to us or watching, respect that female, listen, protect, and I think that's super important to continue to remind the world because I think oftentimes we lose sight of that. Anything, my brother?
No, definitely do. Just, I can echo everything you said, but we grew up with a strong, woman that was very empathetic and very loving to everyone, almost like a mama bear to the world, was our mom. So we can't help but be, and then also admiring our dad and our uncle, who basically our grandma was that role model for them in that way. So we've always had a strong woman that's shown us like what love and empathy and being a good person is.
Nick's Hockey Mom, love your lives. Thanks for all you do. Nick's Hockey Mom comes with a $25 donation for DDJF. Thank you so much, Nick's Hockey Mom. I love your name, your profile name. That would be it. It reminds me of something my mother would have. She would probably have 3 T's Mom or something that way. What would you guess Taj Mom would have as a profile name? My 3 boys or something?
Yeah.
Something like that. But yes,
something like that. I don't know. Baseball might be in there somewhere too, because Mom.
Yeah.
I was trying to think.
All right, Taj, we're going to continue moving on. We have 3 more. We are discussing 7 habits of highly empathetic people. We've went through 4 of them. It is an article written by Melody Whiting for Inc. magazine. And we have touched on 4. The first 4, which are they are fully present with others. 2, they've mastered the art of active listening. 3, they tune into nonverbal communication. 4, they pause. And here's our 5th one. Highly empathetic people, they replace giving advice with asking questions. Love this. Instead of offering their opinion, empathetic people ask questions to better understand another person's perspective. Questions such as, how do you feel about it? Can you tell me more? What do you mean? What would be helpful? What do you make of it? Those are important questions to give, to ask someone to help them get through whatever situation they are going through. Taj, anything you want to add to our number 5th habit for highly empathetic people?
Yeah, I think also asking questions. Sometimes the person knows the answer, and when they come to that answer, not by themselves, but with them, in terms of you telling them the answer, it's a light bulb might come, go off in that way. They know the answer. Usually they know. If they don't, then you can kind of tell if they don't have the answer, if they're kind of lost. But sometimes they know what to do. It's just they don't want to do it because of certain circumstances or whatever. So asking questions helps that way too, because you can kind of get to the meat of the bone.
Yeah, I just think it encourages. Oftentimes when we're in difficult situation or struggling or we've been dealt a challenging time, we just need to talk, and asking questions helps pull out us talking and voicing whatever we're going through. As I've said, for me, not that my dog asked any questions, but just being there, I was able to really feel comfort, knowing that there was something there that would love me unconditionally. And sometimes if people don't, for some people, they need to be talked to and feel like you're engaged to feel that. So asking questions is a very simple and easy way to do that. So just encourage yourself to ask questions for those who you find in need, to help those in need. Number 6, they speak in terms of we, not me. I love this one. Empathetic leaders shift to talking about how they'll tackle challenges as a team, speaking in terms of we and us, so other people feel empowered and supported. Research shows changing your language is a step toward adopting an empathetic attitude. People who use more second-person pronouns are better at interpreting other thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, which are the essence of empathy. When you want to genuinely connect with someone, create a bond by talking about your shared goals, such as, let's talk about what we're going to do next week to solve this. We'll get through this together. Those kind of statements are huge. It makes someone feel like they're not alone. This is what our whole DDJF is about. We always talk about how difficult moments and grief is such an isolating experience that if you can let someone know that you are with them, it automatically helps them get through that situation. What you got, Taj? Anything else you want to add?
I mean, this one for me rings true for everything. Like I've always been a we person when it comes to problems in that way and helping people with problems, because you're 100% right. Feeling alone is one of the most isolating, and also is one of the darkest things you can do, is when you feel like no one understands you or no one gets you, or I'm in this alone. I can't get out of this. So just having that extra support and that extra person sometimes can get you through that in that way. So I'm always a big component of words. Words matter in that way. So I love the we versus me.
Love it, Taj. I feel. Hold on, Taj. I am just finding one more. There's a couple donations. Okay, here we go. Yes, it's donation spotlight time. Jack Love 78. Thank you so much for the $20 donation. A big fan of your family, but more importantly, a big fan of your humanitarian work. Empathy is so important. Thank you for highlighting this subject. Very sweet, Jack Love. I completely agree, as does my brother and our foundation. That's why we chose this as the topic for today, as we celebrate tomorrow's, my mother's birthday, which would have been tomorrow. Empathy is everything. If we can have more empathy in the world, our world would be a better place. And yes, more specifically, if someone is going through something, it's empathy and just understanding, or just presence is what they usually need to help them get through that situation. So empathy plays a huge role, and it's something we all can get better at. One more quick donation before we get to our seventh and final habit is from Sequoia. It's a $10 donation. Sequoia, thank you so much. Sequoia has been around since I can remember with the DDJF Foundation, calling into the old school days when we were on the radio doing it. Sequoia has been a huge supporter. Sequoia says, we are basically free therapists without the degree. I can't count the many times I just said, how are you? Then people, especially strangers on the bus, will start telling me their life story. Well said. It's very powerful, you know, and I think sometimes we just need to know or feel that someone cares about us. And it can be a stranger. It can be anyone. I love this what you wrote, Sequoia. I think it's very powerful and very true. Anything you got, my eldest bro, Taj?
Well, you can say my master. No, I think for me, I just love the community is so in tuned, you know, with that, and I think in some degree this whole community is very empathetic. You know, in terms of when you're giving and, you know, and caring, there's an empathy aspect to it in terms of putting yourself in someone else's shoes in that way. And so I just, you know, I'm very proud of this community. I know you are as well, TJ, but at the same time, it's like, I love how we're here for each other in that way, because you guys helped us so much in general. I've grown so much, you know, through this whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then before we get to our seventh habit of highly empathetic people, we have another donation from Suzanne, who says, shout out to Terrell. He should be here too on this episode honoring your mom. Yes. Yeah. But, you know, hopefully soon Terrell will be back with us doing the DDJF thing. But make no mistake, he's with us in spirit and soul and whatever the correct terminology is. But yes, Suzanne, you're 100% right. All right, Taj, are we ready for our seventh
and final? Yeah.
Seventh and final habit. That's the proper term. All right. Highly empathetic people, they imagine others' point of view. They imagine others' point of view. Empathetic people practice a skill called perspective taking. In other words, they step into other people's shoes to imagine what fears they might be facing. Do this exercise yourself by practicing internally to assume that person's point of view, especially when you're dealing with a difficult person. It's important to assume positive intent. That is, give people the benefit of the doubt that they are coming from a respectful place, not a malicious one. The mindset shift can do wonders for your mood and ensure you stay in an empathetic state. Even if you have moments where you're less compassionate than you'd like, following these highly empathetic habits can help you keep what's important at the forefront, which is connection. It's all about connecting. So that is we gave you 7 great tips, 7 great habits for highly empathetic people, but they all round to one thing, and that is connection. You have to connect with whoever you are trying to be there for. Super, super important. Anything, Mr. Todd Jackson?
No, I mean, I love this one as well. I did say about putting yourself in someone's shoes, seconds before this, because that's like one of the things that for me, that's been always my go-to in general. I've used that example in terms of, if you're driving and someone cuts you off and then gives you the middle finger or whatever, the first thing I do instead of being angry is I imagine like what their day might have been like to be that angry or that frustrated. Maybe they just got a divorce or whatever, and it's like everything's piling on them, and then you'd be more sympathetic. You'd be like, okay, I get why this. So I always imagine that anyway. I'm never jumping to conclusions. I always kind of put myself in other people's shoes. I've just always been that, and it really helps the stress level in that way, because people are just human. They're just reactionary. You don't know their backstory in that way.
I think that's super important. I think oftentimes, and we all fall victim to it. We all are guilty of it. But like Todd said, if there's ever a point where you are, like Todd said, you are being the recipient of some aggressive behavior, try to imagine what they may be going through. You never know what they're going through. They could have lost the family member. They could have lost the job. It could be a very, very difficult moment for them, which could lead to behavior they're not proud of. And you just may be the recipient of it. So try not to take it personal, and try to have that perspective of that person may just be going through something. I have to say, I've gotten pretty good at that. Not that when people have been, I've never really been flicked off, I think, because I'm a subtle driver. When I'm driving, I should say. But if someone does something that's rude to me, I've been pretty quick to feel some empathy for them. I can honestly say I feel like it's like a bully. Oftentimes it's bullies that are going through difficult situations that cause them to be bullied. And if you truly understand that and know the what's behind that, you can really separate yourself from that emotion. And I oftentimes pray for someone who does something wrong or is doing some negative behavior. And it's really cool, because I think it's not only freeing for myself, but I think it's a cool gesture to bring some love to that person.
Yeah. And as you said, people that usually are in pain lash out. And I think that for empathetic people, they actually internalize. They don't lash out. They kind of keep it inside. So it's the opposite of what they think would happen. But usually people that lash out are in pain.
Well said, Taj. Okay. Again, we got one more donation from Angela E. Angela with a 19.99 pound donation to the Dede Jackson Foundation. Thank you so much, Angela. She says, happy birthday, Dede. Sending lots of love. Miss you both. Thank you, Angela, for donating to our foundation. Again, for anyone who's joining late or needs to rehear it, we do not have any paid positions in the Dede Jackson Foundation. Everything that you donate goes to helping kids in need. And I should say people in need, because this show is part of it too. But yes,
and we help families at times too. So
and families, absolutely, Todd. I forgot about that. I should have mentioned that.
Yeah.
But I want to thank everyone who has not just today, not with Patty. I mean, Patty donated $100. I can't even scroll back up to it. I was going to highlight it again, but Patty, thank you so much for that big donation. 7 habits of highly empathetic people. We went through the 7. Taj, do we need to run through them one more time?
We can, real quick. I mean,
let's do it.
There a lot of them cover each other, but let's do it.
Number 1, they are fully present with others. Number 2, they've mastered the art of active listening. Number 3, they tune into nonverbal communication. Number 4, they pause. Number 5, they replace giving advice with asking questions. Number six, they speak in terms of we, not me. And number 7, they imagine the other's point of view. All really good, strong tips to help you become an empathetic person.
Yeah.
Taj, we've been alive for 35 minutes on the show. Is there anything else you want to say before we close?
I mean, I think empathy is so important in today's world now, just in general, because we're at a time where people are trying to divide people, and people are trying to, you see it in the news. It's this, culture versus this culture, this race versus this race. And if you just go off of the media, or if you just go off of what you read or hear people telling you, you would think that we're just so divisive and we have no common ground. But really, we're all human beings. And I think that you have to, we're missing empathy in the world is really what we're missing. It's not, we that me versus we is so important, because it's almost like, well, that's not my problem, so I won't deal with it. But it is your problem, because, you should care about everyone. So, I mean, that's in a nutshell what I think is missing in this world. It's just empathy. Above everything. Understanding.
The last part?
No, above everything else is like just putting yourself in other people's shoes, and in general is so missing in today's world. It's just, I mean, I guess we've gotten closer because of the internet in terms of social media, like the world's smaller, but in the same way, the world's also become very decisive in terms of certain teams and certain things like that. So I would just say that's why the need of community and because everything's kind of piled on you in a way. It is multiplied. So if that makes sense,
It makes complete sense. Yeah, it's well said, Taj. Well said. I don't really have much to follow. I think you hit it on the nail. I just think, sometimes I think we all have a calling to want to do our part to make the world a better place and to help our fellow person. But I often think sometimes empathy and the role empathy plays gets forgotten. And I think it's, people are always trying to, what's the word I want to use? People are often always loving to others, but they're not understanding the role empathy plays in that. I don't know how to explain it any clearer than what you did, Taj, now that I think about it.
Well, our morals what we value is backwards. We value fame as opposed to valuing someone's heart in that way. And if you think about, we have a list of like who's the richest person in the world, but it's like we have a list of who's like the most charitable people in the world that have donated their time and energy to go places and travel to places to help, humanitarian issues. I think that's why we're where we are at, because we value money over that.
It's well said. I mean, yes. You're on a roll. I don't feel like I can follow up with what you said. That's perfectly on. But I do have one more donation that just came in from Annie that we need to highlight, and then we will wrap up the show. Annie, thank you so much. She writes on her $25 donation, "Happy birthday, Dede, and thank you for your legacy of your wonderful sons. Thanks, Taj and TJ, for your great work." Very sweet message, Annie. And again, thank you for your donation. Yes. To wrap up, what I will want to wrap up is just what my mother, what she was. She was a beautiful person, a beautiful mother who was a family woman who cared so much about her 3 sons and the community she can impact. She did so much for all 3 of us, for our school, for our community, our baseball league. She was all about making the world a better place in a way she knew how to. And with that said, what we do here at DDJF is just try to continue that legacy. We try to make sure we are doing our part in helping others get through life. It's a difficult world we live in. There are going to be downs in life, but if we have each other and we can live with some empathy and really try to connect with our fellow person, we can really make this world a better place.
Yeah.
With that said, I think it's time to close, man.
I have one last thing to say real quick. I just want to say, I've always thanked you guys for being here for DDJF in general. Tomorrow is always a hard day for my brothers and I. It's just in general. And you guys have turned that around and made it, a 3T day or a blessing day in that way. And as I've said, so proud of DDJF just because of the community we've become. And so, it bears my mom's name and our mom's name. And it's just like, I can be more proud of the foundation and everyone that's either spread the word, donated, or volunteered in certain ways. And our board members have been amazing. And so that's all I want to say is that it helps. It really does, because we're still going through that loss and grief ourselves. And so tomorrow will be a difficult day. Yeah.
And I want to say this, Todd, we'll always go through that. This isn't something that we'll ever get through. We lost our mother. And, as I've said many times, even on this show, at first it was losing your mother. But then when you have kids, as Tosh does now, you're realizing your kid doesn't have a grandmother who would have been an amazing grandmother. And yes, this community has played a great supportive role for even myself and my brothers. And I want to thank you all for doing that. You guys are here every Wednesday. What's that?
I said I want to add to that, but go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, you guys, they're here every Wednesday. They're supportive. They're giving love. They're supporting each other, and it's comforting even for us to know that we're gonna see so many of these familiar names and faces every Wednesday.
Great names, right? Yeah, see the familiar names. Yeah. I was going to just say, we're still going through this, the loss and grief, and you're 100% right, TJ. It becomes silly things for me now in that way, because we're going to be open about it, because we expect our guests to be open about it. Like, for me, the biggest fear for tomorrow is, what photo am I going to use? I've ran almost out of photos of my mom, and it's like I'm trying to find a new photo of mom to post.
You don't have to find a new photo.
I know, but it's just like, it's Instagram or Twitter or whatever. And it's like, I don't want to recycle the same photos, because then it's like, then it's like almost, I don't know. It's a weird way of saying it, but yeah, those kind of things are what I'm thinking about for tomorrow. Like, where do I find a new photo of mom and us? Because we're so limited on them.
Well, Taj Jackson, we touched on a lot today. We touched on the 7 habits of highly empathetic people. We informed people that tomorrow is 3T Day, but really it's a celebration of our mother's life. And we brought in so much money for our foundation through all of you who've donated. And before we sign off, I just want to say thank you again from the bottom of our hearts. We love you guys. We want you to please be safe and please be there for each other. Until next time, just stay grateful. Continue to be there for each other. Love your family. Hold your family. We never know when our last day is, so we have to be there. And do not hold grudges against people. Welcome people into your lives, and just be the best person you can. For anyone who's dealing with any COVID issues or struggles, I know France just got back into a lockdown. Stay strong. Please be safe. And we'll get through this as one big community. Taj, anything else? I am about to officially close this live.
One last donation.
One last donation, Taj says. Yes, let's highlight it real quick. And it is from Elhan. Happy birthday, Dede, and happy 3T Day. Thank you for helping me deal with the loss of a psychologist at my school. You are welcome, Elhan. And thank you for your donation.
Yes.
All right. Until next Wednesday, you guys be safe. Love always, and adios.